All right, picture this. It's 5 a.m. I'm standing in my kitchen, pouring coffee, the kind of strong, black brew that smells like home and keeps you grounded through anything. And then I hear itchin' saws tearing through the quiet Nebraska dawn like a pack of angry wolves. I look out my window, and there she is, Karen Whitmore, our HOA dictator, dressed in a blinding white blazer that probably cost more than my truck, swinging a neon green chainsaw through my cornfield like she's auditioning for a horror flick. She's not just cutting stalks, shredding the irrigation pipes. I spent 4 years piecing together, water spraying everywhere, mixing with diesel fuel, soaking the earth I've worked my whole life to nurture. But what really sent me over the edge? She climbs onto my dad's old 1958 Massey Ferguson tractor family heirloom, the one he taught me to drive when I was 12, and starts smashing the engine with a crowbar, grinning like she's filming a TikTok. 27 swings, I counted every one, my coffee going cold in my hand. Then, with this smug little smirk, she lights a flare and tosses it into the field. And 800 acres of my corny kid's future, my mortgage payment goes up in flames. She's standing there, filming it all on her phone, sipping from a mug that says HOA Empress in gold cursive. What would you do if someone burned your life's work to the ground for a row of cookie-cutter mansions? Where are you watching this from? Let me tell you how this all started. My name's Ethan Caldwell, third-generation farmer out here in Dawson County, Nebraska. This land 1,000 acres of rich, black soil has been in my family since my granddad staked it in 1920, back when a man's word was his bond and neighbors didn't complain about the smell of honest work. 3 years ago, I lost my wife, Laura, to leukemia. It gutted me, left me hollow, but the farm kept me going. A morning ritual of coffee, the soft hum of sprinklers, the way the sunrise hits the corn tassels just right like gold dust on the prairie. My kids, Sophie, a college junior studying agribusiness, and Lucas, a high schooler who can strip a combined engine faster than most mechanics. They're the heart of this place. This farm isn't just dirt, it's who we are, carved into every furrow. But then the outsiders came. Crestview Estates, a fancy new subdivision, started sprouting up along our western fence, lined 40 identical villas for city folks escaping their own messes. Most of them kept to themselves, which was fine by me, but then Karen Whitmore rolled into town. Karen, 55, fresh off a divorce settlement that could probably buy half our county, drove a sleek black Range Rover she treated like a royal carriage. She wore designer everything sunglasses that cost more than my monthly seed bill, and within 3 months, she clawed her way to HOA president, promising to elevate property values by wiping out anything that smelled like a farm. Her first move? A certified letter lands in my mailbox, accusing me of agricultural nuisance because my fertilizer, same stuff we've used for decades, apparently offended her delicate nose. She demanded I stop all manure use or face $600 daily fines. I called her up, tried reasoning. Karen, this was farmland long before your cul-de-sac existed. Her voice came back, all syrupy and sharp, like a yoga teacher with a vendetta. Mr. Caldwell, we're building a lifestyle here. Your cow stink doesn't fit our vision. Like I was running a landfill instead of feeding the country. Turns out, when the HOA was formed, some pencil pusher accidentally included my land in their boundaries, a clerical screw-up from the previous owner's bad day with paperwork. My lawyer, Tom Hayes, broke the news over greasy diner coffee. Ethan, you're stuck under their rules unless we prove fraud. They got you by the throat. The town split like a cracked windshield. My real neighbors, the Jensens, who've run the feed store forever, and the Parkers, with their dairy farm, had my back. But the villa crowd? Half thought Karen was nuts, half bought her line that my corn was tanking their home values. The mayor, Ellen Carter, played neutral, terrified of lawsuits that could bankrupt our little town. Then Karen went full Gestapo, showing up with a measuring tape. a photographer who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, and a clipboard thicker than a Bible. She'd measure my corn stalks, snap pictures of my tractor's tire tracks, even time when I fed my chickens. One night, I caught her husband, Greg, sneaking through my wheat field at 1 a.m. with a surveyor's tripod, muttering about compliance checks before he bolted when our border collie, Scout, started barking. That dog became a legend. Kids in town started calling him the Karen alarm, barking 30 seconds before her Range Rover appeared, like he had a sixth sense for trouble. But here's the kicker. Karen wasn't just a bored suburbanite flexing power, she was drowning in debt. $1.8 million owed to creditors from her old life in San Diego. My farm was her golden ticket. She needed to force me out to sell my land to developers for a fat commission. Things got ugly fast. One Tuesday, she shows up with a yellow yardstick, measuring my corn like it's a federal crime. "Mr. Caldwell," she says, waving that stick like a scepter, "your crops are 8 feet, 3 inches. HOA rules cap vegetation at 7 feet to preserve our scenic views." I just stared. "Karen, that's not how corn works." She smirked, handed me a letter with fake official stamps, giving me 48 hours to chop my crops down or pay $1,200 a day. That night, I remembered something Laura had dug up for her AG Law thesis: Nebraska's Right to Farm Act, a shield for farmers against exactly this kind of nonsense. I filed a complaint with the county, set up security cameras, and caught Karen's Range Rover creeping through my barley at midnight, flattening $2,500 worth of crop. When I confronted her, she was pressure washing her car in a $300 jacket, cool as ice. "Unfortunate accident. Ethan, maybe try growing shorter plants?" Her insurance company laughed off my claim. Intentional damage isn't covered, leaving her on the hook. The community started fighting back. The Jensens launched a Save Our Farms group online, exploding to 500 members in days. People shared their own HOA horror stories, posted pics of my ruined fields. Scout went viral. Kids built an app tracking his Karen alerts, hitting 97% accuracy. My cameras caught her leading developers through my land, promising them townhomes by spring. "This farmer's done," she said, clear as day on the audio. "I've got him cornered." But she didn't know I'd found my Asa granddad's 1920 water rights to Cottonwood Creek, the only water source for her precious villas. My lawyer, Janet Reed, laid it out. "Ethan, you could shut off their water tomorrow, pools, sprinklers, toilets, all of it. Those rights are ironclad." Karen upped the ante, sabotaging my irrigation at 2 a.m. $15, 000, in sliced hoses and smashed sprinklers. But the town rallied. Parker's Hardware donated parts. Volunteers fixed the damage overnight, and a GoFundMe hit $40,000. The story went regional. Corporate greed versus family farm. Then I found Laura's old research in the basement, a folder labeled HOA scams. My hand shook as I read it. Original HOA papers from 2017 excluded my land, but Karen's versions filed later included it. Different ink, different signatures, obvious forgeries. Laura's notes screamed federal mail fraud. If those fakes went through the post office. I called Tom at dawn. This could put her away for 20 years. Turns out, Karen had borrowed $500,000 from shady investors, betting on flipping my land for a 200% profit. My farm wasn't just in her way, it was her whole scheme. She got desperate, hired goons to torch my storage shed at 3 a.m., burning records and $50,000 in equipment. Cameras caught her Range Rover dropping off the arsonist. Then she tried bribing the county DA with $40,000 cash, not knowing he was wired by the FBI. Her fake news campaign bots calling me a violent nutcase fell apart when a local reporter exposed it. By the time she got a crooked inspector to condemn my farmhouse, claiming it was a health hazard, Her crimes had piled up: fraud, bribery, arson, racketeering. The showdown came at the town council meeting, packed like a rock concert, news crews everywhere. Karen strutted in, pink suit, $800 heels, with a lawyer who looked like he billed by the syllable. Tom laid out the forged documents, side by side, so obvious the room gasped. The DA dropped the bribery bombshell. FBI agent Torres, a farm kid from Kansas, stood up. "Karen Whitmore, you're under arrest for fraud, conspiracy, and racketeering." She lost it, screaming, "These hick farmers are ruining progress," as they cuffed her, her heels clicking on the floor like a defeated queen. The crowd roared, a standing ovation that shook the walls. The judge dissolved the HOA, voided every fine, and the villa's collapsed construction stopped. Owners bailed. That night, I sat on my porch, scout at my feet, listening to the sprinklers, knowing my farm was safe. But I wasn't done. At dawn, I walked to Granddad's old dam, turned the rusted wheel, and let 8 million gallons of creek water loose. The villa site turned into a mud pit, swallowing bulldozers, foundations sinking like shipwrecks. Herons and beavers moved in within days, turning it into a wildlife haven. 6 months later, our Caldwell Farm Festival drew 7,000 folks, locals selling pies and kettle corn, kids running through the fields. Laura Scholarship Fund launched with $200,000, helping kids like Maria Lopez study sustainable farming. Karen got 12 years in prison, $3 million in fines. Her villa sold at auction $4.30,000. I bought it, tore it down, planted sunflowers that bloom like a big middle finger to her dreams. This fight changed me. It's not just about land, it's about roots, family, standing up when someone tries to burn your life down. My kids are carrying the torch. Sophie's fighting for farmers' rights. Lucas is adding solar to the farm. Scout's a star, with 400,000 followers and his own merch line, funding AG charities. We protected 500 acres forever with a conservation easement. But here's the thing: what would you do if someone tried to steal your legacy? Was I right to flood their site? Or should I have let the law handle it all? Drop your thoughts below. Share your own stories of fighting the Karens of the world. Hit subscribe for more battles like this. And ring that bell next week. We're diving into how a small-town baker stopped a strip mall from paving over a historic orchard. Let's keep this fight alive.